View's absolutely magnificent, even if it is a little hazy. There'll be absolutely no problems finding a decent pitch tonight. Welcome back to the channel. This could be the most epic one yet. This walk's ticking a lot of boxes. Long distance footpath, UK's most isolated spot, a wild camp. It's got it all. And more importantly, 2 days of unbroken weather as promised. But it's a really steep start to the walk. I've started in Bethesda and it's a hell of a pull to get out of the village. So I needed a little bit of sustenance before I began, and at some point in the next few hours I'll be over 3,000 feet and looking for somewhere to camp. In terms of being the most isolated spot in Wales, this could possibly be it, although I believe there's somewhere in the Brecon Beacons that lays claim to this as well. I don't know about that, but I do know that it's here, and it also forms part of the Snowdonia Way. In September of last year I did 3 days on that, and this is the final stage. It's about 18 miles long, and people, when they do it, sometimes split it down into 2 days because it is a fairly big chunk and probably one of the longest days on the whole route. But I'm not bothered about that. I'm going to camp out, finish the rest of it tomorrow. Right, I'm not complaining about the weather, but it is quite muggy and I'm kind of worried about dehydrating. So I brought about 3 litres of water with me. I'm going to get some of it now. I've put some of these electrolytes in it. That should help. And then I'll refill. I should have plenty of water to last me through the night and into tomorrow when I can refill again. Right, I'm just going to take a breather for a couple of minutes. It's really steep and pathless. It's given my backside a bit of a whooping, but the views open out slightly, and that's Conway Bay, potentially that's Puffin Island and the Irish Sea beyond. I mean, it's absolutely stunning, surrounded by these beautiful fell ponies. Just keeping a little bit of distance because a few of them look quite young and frisky, but this is magnificent. And apart from one group of people that I bumped into when I hadn't long left the village, I haven't seen anybody else. To be honest, I don't think I will see anybody else till tomorrow. It's just perfect. God, these views, just incredible. I'm on a decent track now, and in all fairness, the going underfoot's been pretty good. There's been 1 or 2 soft spots, as you'd expect, but generally it's pretty dry. And it hasn't taken as long to start to get a bit of height as well. I mean, those mountains over there, I wish I knew them enough to be able to name them for you. You probably recognise them anyway. But they're over 3,000 feet. It's just stunning. And this area alone, the Carneddau, accounts for 10% of the whole of Snowdonia National Park. And this bit in particular is the highest continuous landmass in the whole of England and Wales. Just incredibly special place, but you've got to earn it. There's no easy ways up, I can tell you. No railway, no cafe at the top. You've just got to put a shift in. Well, I'm really grateful for those cairns. That's a significant fork in the path for me. And the path's in places switch between really clear to really vague. And we're on the really vague bit at the moment. But it's all going well. And again, views absolutely magnificent, even if it is a little hazy. there'll be absolutely no problems finding a decent pitch tonight. For those of you who like your mountains in metric, 926 metres. This is the summit of Carnedd Gwenllian. And I must apologise for my Welsh pronunciation. It's not the first time I've apologised to someone today, but I do my best. And this is great. And I think we're off. Just be careful, I'm out on a ledge here. But I think we're off in that direction. There's another mountain to climb, and it's that one's slightly higher. We'll see. I'll get there and maybe consider somewhere to pitch. But this is fantastic. I mean, just look at that behind me. Incredible. So at 942 metres, this is the summit of Foel Fras. Now if you're doing the Welsh 3,000 foot challenge, if you're doing it from north to south, this is the first big mountain you come across. If you're doing it south to north, as most people do, this is the last one. I did it around about best part of 20 years ago, if not a little bit more, but I did it over 3 days and I did it north to south. And it certainly wasn't anything like this. All I can seem to remember is, apart from Tryfan, it just rained the whole way. And my knees were red raw as well. Really felt that. It's a really, really tough challenge, even over 3 days. But I think I'm going to look for somewhere to pitch. If I pitch here, it leaves me about 11 miles back to the car in the morning. That's probably about as much as I'd want to do. I might push on a little bit further, I don't know, but there's some pieces of flat ground here that look pretty good, and I think I'll take a look at those first. Well, I'm really happy with that. It's taken next to no time to pitch. It's really flat. Come down off the summit a little bit so I can get away from the path. And also there was a decent wall that ran along the top of the summit as well. I wanted to be away from that, and I've got views out towards the west. And in the morning, if there's a sunrise, I'll catch it because I've got decent views towards the east as well. This is perfect, barely a breath of wind. Absolutely 5-star. And I'm going to get my stuff in the tent now, and I'm going to get some food on. This is one piece of kit that's been a game changer for me. An inflatable pillow. It doesn't weigh much and it packs down to next to nothing, but it does help get a good night's sleep. Previously, I've taken off my down jacket, put it inside a stuff sack and tried to use that. It's just not the same. This is fantastic. Perfect. So just while I wait for my cup of soup to cool down a little bit so I can drink it, I'll just show you what I'm going to have for my tea tonight. I haven't got a fire pot meal, it's the pouch, and what I've done is I've put some Bachelor's chicken and mushroom pasta and sauce in there. I'll just add a little bit of water and stir it up. So that'll be my tea for tonight. I've got some extra protein in the form of jerky, so I can snack on that. And I can mop it all up with a couple of flatbreads that I brought as well. It's such a cheaper and more efficient way of getting camping food rather than spending 8 or 9 quid a time on a fire pot meal or something like that. I've got a grenade bar for after. God, my missus will be really pleased to see this. It's an Oreo one. I didn't want to let you down. I've got hot chocolate for later on before I go to bed. And in the morning, I've got some instant porridge that I put into another old pouch, mix it with some protein powder. And again, it shouldn't cost more than a couple of quid. Well, one of those breakfasts would easily cost 7, 8 quid. So it's another way of saving a little bit of money. That's the Yorkshireman in me. Right, this should be about ready for drinking now. Oh yeah, yeah, perfect. Right, I thought I was going to have a bit of a disaster. Just as I was cooking my food and the water was boiling, a guy came running over the crest of the hill towards the tent asking where Falls was. And as I was trying to reply to him, I was also in the process of taking the pot off the stove. And as I did so, I spilt some of the water. But I think I'd had enough water to fully submerge all the pasta in this pot. So I'm going to have a taste test and just see what it's like. I don't think it's as runny as last time, which is something anyway. There you go. And in fairness, it is actually pretty good. God, I'll tell you what, temperature's dipped a little bit. I'm glad I brought my thermals and my duvet jacket and pants tonight, I can tell you. I don't fancy getting cold. Looks like there'll be some colour in the sky as well, I hope. So, chance of a beautiful evening. I might get the drone up now actually and just see what there is before the light starts to fade properly. So like I said earlier, that temperature's really dipped. So I'm going to get into my thermals and my duvet kit, get underneath my quilt, snuggle in for the night because I think it's going to be a cold one. But if you've enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. All the interaction helps the channel grow and I do really appreciate it. Right, I'll see you in the morning. It certainly looks bright out there. Good morning. Well, that wasn't a bad night's sleep. I was awake around about 1 o'clock for about an hour. Just couldn't get back to sleep for some reason. Maybe it was because the wind got up so much. It was giving the tent a good shake. Anyway, I did eventually get back to sleep. I thought I was going to wake up to some mist, but that seems to have cleared and the sun seems to be out now, so it looks as if it's going to make for a really good day. I'm going to get a brew, I'm going to get some porridge, I'm going to get packed away and I'm going to get moving. I'd like to be on the move by about 7 o'clock. That's where I was last night. And as always, leave no trace. Well, I hope to be on the move for 7 o'clock, and I am. And it's amazing what a couple of cups of coffee and some porridge can do. I feel really energised, and just look at the views. They're absolutely amazing in all directions. It does make a difference when it's like this. And I've even put some factor 50 on in the hope that the sun will burn the rest of the cloud off, but I've probably jinxed it now. But this is good walking and I'm going to make some progress. I think I'll be back in Conway for about 11 o'clock, but I'm in no rush. And get another bit of late breakfast and then crack on. So there was a little bit of climbing still left to do. This is the summit of Drum at 770 metres. And we are on the Snowdonia Way, the mountain route. So I guess the up and down hasn't finished just yet. But this is amazing. Funnily enough, I met a couple on the way up here. They were doing a dry run for their own Snowdonia 3,000 footers challenge. I said I wouldn't do it again. They're doing it in 24 hours. When I did it, it was in 3 days. But for those of you who haven't heard of it, it's all the 14 3,000 foot peaks in Snowdonia. So when you descend from the ridge, get to the bottom, some pylons, and the Cambrian Way goes up and straight over another peak, but the Snowdonia Way has you bypassing that to the left and across some open moorland, and to say it's boggy is an understatement. I mean, it's passable, but the path comes and goes. Sometimes it's little more than a track, sometimes it's quite a clear ATV route, but it's not shown on the map. You just have to trust that it's there and go for it, and you'll pick it up. But it's still relatively easy walking. And where I was last night, looking at the map, you're at least 3 miles from the nearest access road. In some directions, as far as 5. And for that reason, that must make it the most remote place in England and Wales. There's no forestry tracks. There's nothing to suggest ease of access. It's just hard graft. I'm not sure if this is the official route, but this is a great airy path. Views are fantastic. So it's just dawned on me, I've been walking for about 4.5 hours and I haven't had a proper break. I stopped for about 10 minutes just before I crossed that boggy land, chatted to a couple, checked the map and got a drink. But other than that, that's been it. And as I'm only about an hour away from Conway, I think I'll press on and get something to eat there. I don't know where I'm headed on the next adventure. If the weather stays fine, I think I've got something planned a little closer to home. We'll just have to wait and see. So don't forget to like and comment, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.